And we're back again, carried on from the last conversation. Michael, I'm going to put it to you again because I liked the conversation last time. I'm going to throw some names out to you.
Right.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds to put your case over. Could they play now?
Oh, right. Go on.
So I've got some names. Thank you, Chat AI, for giving me their 4-4-2 best of the Premier League era from the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Better era. See earlier in the week's episode.
More fun. So I'm going to throw these names out to you because these are like iconic players. Let's see if they could play now. I'm going to throw the first one to you. Eric Cantona. Could he play now?
Yeah, I think he could. We still have room in the Premier League for it's not so much crash bang wallop anymore. And I'm not talking about kung fu kicking a Crystal Palace fan in the crowd. I'm talking about. He
deserved it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the things he was shouting out. I would say he did have the physicality, like you said in another episode about De Bruyne. Eric Cantona was no small man. He could handle himself with the physicality. I don't remember him having blistering pace, but I remember him being fast enough with maybe they say a yard in your head. I think he definitely had the first touch and the skill. I think it would depend what team you put him in. I don't know if I could see him playing in a Burnley team in the Premier League.
He ain't good enough. Yeah, no Josh Brownhill.
It's exactly what I was going to say. That is exactly what I was going to say. Oh, Josh Brownhill. That's exactly what I was going to But if you were to take him and put him in, well, to put it like this is the last bit of my 30-second plea. You put him in today's Man United team, he's one of the best players, if not the best player.
Disagree.
Right, go on. Tell us why.
You know why I disagree? No. Cantona played his best when he played off a striker. Yeah, fair? Mm-hmm. What teams play two strikers now?
No, but you have a number 10, don't you?
He's not a 10.
Man United play either under Amorim, they play three at the back with like a 3-5-2, but a different variation of it. Yeah, you could play Bruno a little deeper, and you could put him as
a kind
of auxiliary number 10 that tucks back into the midfield, or you could play him in a team that has a 4-2-3-1, and he could be that centre of the three.
I'm going to throw your saying. It's a square peg in a round hole.
Why so?
Because that's not his position. He's an off the forward. He's not a 10. He hasn't got that. Don't get wrong. He can hit a pass. He hasn't got that consistency in the pass. You saying he's dropping his midfield? It's not his game. It's not Cantona's game. Cantona's game is to wander into those little channels, sort of a 10.5. I don't see if any team I think he'd get into now, and I don't know if you're going to like this, it would be either a Brighton or a Forest. Don't see him in any other team.
Right. Devil's avocado.
Throw it.
Devil's avocado. Why couldn't he play in a team and be a false 9? Why couldn't he be the furthest point forward? But
who plays a false 9?
License to drop with two wingers running beyond him.
So who plays a false 9? What team?
Or any team that they want, depending on the manager and the tactics. If you had an Eric Cantona sitting on your bench, you might adapt your tactics. You're talking from the point of view that are you giving me the rule that he has to play in a current system, or are you saying could he survive in today's game? Which was the question.
What team? Give me what team's going to do that. What team now are going to change? They're going to change the whole way they play for Cantona, right? Bear in mind, as you've said, not particularly like as a great footballer is the maverick that he was, not particularly quick but could move, not particularly physical but was big, not particularly strong in the air, could hit a volley. What teams are going to change? Any of the top 6 going to change their way to fit him in?
Why does it have to be the top 6?
As an example, any of the top 6 going to change to get Cantona in?
But I'd have him at West Ham because he could do what Lucas Paqueta does.
I don't think he could. I think Paqueta's engine's a lot better and his defensive mind's better. Cantona is not known for defending. I think that's a square peg in a round hole.
So
that's where, right, I've got more. We're going to move on. You'll have to jump in, give us comments.
Let us know.
Yeah, right. I'm going to throw this one to you. Beckham.
So my instinct on that is I love Beckham. I like Beckham. Doesn't have the pace to be a winger in today's game. However, I'll caveat that with that was never his game. He never took players on. He wasn't a Ryan Giggs. He found a yard of space and he whipped a crossing. You know, he was intelligent enough to do it. If I had to compare him to somebody in the modern game, I would say he was a better level of James Ward-Prowse.
I knew you were going to say Ward-Prowse.
who I think JWP now stands for James Won't Pass Forward, because he's just sideways and backwards and he's painfully slow. I mean, I would back 50-odd-year-old Beckham to beat Ward-Prowse in a foot race today.
What about Rodriguez?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Rodriguez is the gun's still gone off. He's still doing his shoelaces. He is very slow. Yeah, Beckham, towards the end of his career at Real Madrid and then later on Paris Saint-Germain, AC Milan, they played him in a more central position where he relied even less on pace and he was able to unlock a pass. Unlike Cantona, he did have a good engine. He did have defensive responsibility. I remember him being a one-man army in the World Cup qualifier against Greece, where he was tearing around getting the ball. And all right, maybe he was running out of shape, some cynics would argue, but he could certainly put a tackle in and win the ball back. Yeah, I'm going for yes. I think he could play in today's game. Either in a team on the wing with a target man that doesn't require pace, or in the centre, and you'd certainly get good deliveries from corners and free kicks and set pieces from him.
I tend to agree with that, especially as a centre midfielder. Imagine him in a 3. I think he'd do absolute wonders there. Just the engine, sort of like the 8, trying to do a little bit of everything. I think he'd do well.
An athlete next to him.
Yeah, I just don't think he could play the winger role unless the teams, again, would change. I think the football, I don't see... Don't forget he's playing against players like Ian Hart. I mean, I know he's a welder, the Irish Roberto Carlos, but I just don't see the athletes that you come up against now at left back. He'd even get a sniff of their moments. But that's not digging out Beckham, because he was good at what he did at the time, was what people needed. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd probably go with that one. I don't know if anyone else has got any comments on that about Monsieur Becks if he'd get into the team.
The only way you could play him on the wing is if he had a Fulkrug or a Niall Quinn or a Duncan Ferguson or a Tony Cascarino to aim at.
I would go against that as a fullback and say no, because you've got no pace. I'm just going to get tight to you because you ain't got a trick in you. You've got to tap and whip. I'm going to be close to you. Yeah. So I think maybe we're being harsh on Becks. Maybe we're being harsh. Tell us if we're being harsh. I've got another one for you. I like this one. Vinnie Jones.
No way. No, there's absolutely no way. And when you started posing this question to me, do you know the first? I knew it wouldn't come up on Chat AI, but do you know the first person being Hammer, as I always wrong side, being Hammer? Do you know who I thought of first of all?
Go on.
Julian Dix.
Did you?
He was a hell of a player, a hell of a left back, played for my team and yours.
I went Tim Breaker.
Similar sort of thing, but Dix didn't have the pace back then. There's no way he'd have the pace now to go up against wingers. Imagine him going up against like Doku.
Or you know what? I take it back. Imagine going up against Elanga.
You know what
I mean? Like, take away Elanga. I know Elanga playing for Forest in their top 6, but even you take that way, imagine against Kulusevski or Amid Diallo.
Or Usain Bolt, Ukraine Bolt.
He'd be on toast. He'd be on toast. And so that's where. So you're saying Vinnie Jones wouldn't make it?
No, Vinnie Jones wasn't particularly a silky, skillful player. He wasn't a good tackler. He was an informer. The game's gone soft. There's no way. With some of his tackles. Yeah, with some of his tackles. And I mean, that cup final tackle after about 5 seconds. I
was watching it the other day. Boom. Oh, it's class. It's class.
I think we're in agreement that Vinnie Jones would not last not 10 minutes in a game, wouldn't be skillful enough, wouldn't be athletic enough, used to have a fag and a Mars bar at half time, and just for disciplinary, the game's gone soft. Do we agree?
Yeah, I'd probably, you know what? I think it's harsh because technically he was better than he gets his rep for, but I think the Premier League's too good. Too good.
Let us know. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe, and let us know about any other players from the past that you want us to discuss or that you have an opinion on. How would they get on in today's game? Let us know in the comments.
I want the comments on one to leave there. We're not even going to discuss it. We're going to leave it just hanging out there. I'll tell you what, I'll give you, you can answer yes or no, but that's it. I don't need an exclusive. Everyone else can explain. Gaza.
Right. So let us know in the comments below. Just simply write Gaza dash yes or no. You let us know whether Gaza could cope in today's, what we're talking, Premier League?
Today's Premier League.
Today's Premier League. Could Paul Gascoigne make it? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you soon.